everyone, my name is Ivy K, and I'm going to be telling you about how God saved me from homosexuality. So, um, this story actually goes all the way back to 2013. It was the summer before going to SS1, which is year 10, and I was feeling like a big girl. I'm just about to go into senior school. That summer, I was going to parties, hanging out with my friends, having so much fun, all of that. And then one particular day, I was talking to my friend, and we're talking about boys. We're talking about the party that we had just gone to, and how much fun we had had, and all of that. All of a sudden, the room just gets like so sexually charged, and I know that like I want to kiss her, and I feel like she feels the same thing too, because like there was a weird pause in the room, but we didn't act on it. That night, I now have a dream where there's this girl that she's wearing a white shirt, and she has like the shirt is kind of translucent, so you can see her boobies through the shirt. And I know in the dream I can feel that I'm in love with her, but we don't do anything. We're just playing, and then eventually she leaves, and I didn't take anything of the dream. But that year, when I go to school, I meet this girl. So that year, as I said, it was SS1, so we have orientation for new students. I had to go for orientation because my younger brother was also entering GS1 as a new student, so my parents can't drop people twice, so everybody has to go to school at the same time. And we're also in boarding school, meaning that we don't go home until the holidays. We live in school and eat in school and everything in school, and only go to school during the holidays. So when I got to school, this girl was my roommate. It was just the two of us in the room before everybody else came, like during normal school time. And she was just so nice to me. She wouldn't let me do any chores. She wouldn't let me tidy up. She wouldn't let me clean. And she had snuck in snacks from home, and she would just share them with me. Like, she was just treating me so nicely. And I didn't think anything of it, because who doesn't like to be treated nicely? But then at some point she tells me about her childhood, and how like she was gay, and how like even her mom knew about it, and it was something that she was dealing with. So I had just decided I was going to make her feel accepted with me, because as I said, she was dealing with this thing. Not that I even had any knowledge of like what I knew, what obviously lesbianism was, but I hadn't experienced that with anybody before, so it was completely new territory for me. So slowly after she had told me that story, she now started to like touch upon me. Like, it began slowly from like caressing my neck and like kissing me, like slowly, but then it grew into like what lesbianism is. And this girl was a tomboy, but there was my other friend. So for easier reference, we're gonna call the first girl Sarah, and the other girl Missy. So I had this other friend Missy, who was also a tomboy. She became my friend in year 9, but there was nothing between us. So when she came back to school, when everybody else came back to school during normal school period, Sarah had noticed our interaction, and she was not comfortable with it, because Missy was a tomboy, and like she was just extremely toxic about the whole thing, which should have been ringing red flags in my brain, but I don't know. But she was determined that Missy was gay, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna show you that she's not, which means that I'm gonna make advances towards her and see if she's receptive to it. So now this is year 11, and there's like a wedding that holds in my year between me and Missy. Like, this is just some random high school thing that apparently high school people do. And so after the wedding, there's our wedding night, and I now decide to kiss Missy, and she kisses me back, and that's how I began the relationship between me, Missy, and Sarah. So I go back to Sarah, and I tell Sarah, oh no, Missy is not gay, no, nothing like that. And under wraps, like, I'm getting with the both of them. So initially I was like, okay, I'm not gay, I just like Sarah. But after some time, I was like, okay, I'm not gay, I just like Sarah, I'm a Sarah. But obviously it grows from there, and then even like Sarah's sister, and like just it just grows from there, is the point. Like, there's more people. At some point, Sarah finds out about me and Missy, and she tells Missy, and I lose the both of them. It was extremely dramatic, but that now just dissuades me from entering into any relationship with girls, but it doesn't like push me off girls altogether. I just only start doing casual flings with them. So we fast forward to 2022, where I'm just getting out of this casual situationship with this guy, and I was actively looking for another partner. But then I had decided I was going to use Tinder. I don't know why, but in getting on Tinder, I found that I'm not gonna meet any random guy I just met off the internet, because that's dangerous. Well, I guess, I don't know, but I think it's dangerous. But yeah, so I just immediately like switch off from guys and just like say, okay, instead of guys, I'm just gonna look for girls. And that's how I meet my first real girlfriend. I'm gonna call her my first real girlfriend. And the relationship was amazing. Like, she is genuinely such an amazing person. But at some point in the relationship, I started feeling uncomfortable. I think it started from when we were at this party one time. It was a beach party. So she was like in the ocean, putting her leg in the ocean and just like having fun, while I was sitting on the sand. And I now suddenly hear God talking to me, telling me that she's a distraction. The parties are a distraction. Everything is a distraction. And I didn't really understand at that time what was going on, but obviously the vibe is now dead because I'm at a party trying to have fun. I'm hearing everything is a distraction. I just want to go home. So the feeling doesn't really go away after then. The feeling, it just keeps growing and growing inside of me, that I'm being distracted. But instead of me to look at it as me, I started feeling like it was the girl that was the distraction. I don't know why I did that, because it's like this thing was even before this girl, so like, why is she the focus of your blame? But anyhow, that's how I took it. And at that time, I was already considering going to the United Kingdom to go and do my master's. So I was praying about it, because at some point during this whole journey, I had decided to take my relationship with God seriously and actually start seeking him like intentionally and all of that. So I was praying about the decision to go, but I know that the whole thing with the girl played into that decision, because I felt like, okay, if I change locations geographically, I will be able to leave this thing behind. Is that true? Anyway, I eventually go, but even disconnecting from her was not easy. Like, it wasn't easy to just like up and leave as I thought it would be. And then I got to the UK, and everywhere around me is PDA. Like, everybody's loving up on their babe, every baby's loving up on their guy, like, and that just made me miss my babe. And then I now started looking for the wrong things again. So literally my first week in school, I met this girl, or I saw this girl rather, and she was just extremely beautiful, and I knew I was attracted to her. But like, I just got to school, like, I'm not gonna, you know, start getting into things so quickly. And then as time will have it, like, we were literally paired for the same case study, not in the same group, but like we were both addressing the same case study. So that just got us talking, sharing feedbacks about that whole thing. But the first conversation we had outside of schoolwork, she tells me about this long distance international thing that she has with this other person that is a girl. So that just confirms for me that this girl is also gay. Anyway, so she has this international thing going on. I decided to squash my feelings and just like mind my business, because she's already not available. Yeah. So, but then I now realize that that thing is actually not necessarily working. She's always complaining about it, but as a good friend, I'm not now gonna be like, oh no, don't, no. I would be like, try, don't worry, make excuses, da da da, as a good friend would, you know. But that thing is deteriorating. But she already had a ticket booked to go and visit the girl, as you would in your international long distance relationships. And so she goes to see, no, I think shortly before she goes to see this girl, like, things are already getting really, really bad, and things with us just start to pick up. And you know, we get together, but I'm like, okay, I'm like, we get together, but maybe that doesn't mean that we're in a relationship, that she still has that other thing going on. But when she eventually travels, it doesn't work out at all, and that just certifies our relationship. And that's how we start getting on. But at some point in the relationship, it was even good. We were good together, like as a couple or whatever. But at some point I started having dreams, and I have dreams all the time. Like as I said before, like dreams are they're just a everyday part of my life. So I stopped taking them seriously, because sometimes it can be really bizarre, sometimes it can be really random. So I don't take them seriously. But this particular time, as usual, I had dreams, and then I mentioned it to my partner, because you would, like, as you normally would, how was your night? I had a dream. Sometimes she'll be like, oh yeah, how was your dream? Sometimes she'll be like, oh, tell me what happened. Sometimes it's just like, oh, are you okay? How do you make you feel? Or something like that. But this particular day, she asked me to tell her what happened. And then when I tell her, she's like, oh, I know what your dream is about. I know what your dream is about, but I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to lead you to it. But I'm like, I don't really care, because like the dream had like all these thrills and like actions going on, and that's what necessarily interests me. The meaning doesn't really, I don't really care. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna lead you to. I'm like, if you don't tell me, girl, I don't care. And then she told me, she was like, oh, I think your dream is about you being gay. I'm like, no, like I didn't even what do you call it? I didn't even decode that from the dream at all. Because she was the one that was saying that, she was like, oh, but like my spirit or something inside of me isn't comfortable with me being gay. And I'm like, because like this is something, as I said, like now this is maybe 2024. So from 2013 to 2024 is like 11 years. So no, this is not even 2020. This is 2025. What am I saying? This is 2025. This just happened. This is 12 years. So something that I've literally been in for 12 years, is it now that my spirit or my soul or whatever is not going to be comfortable with it? No. Like, this is where I am, girl. Like, I know, like, at some point I had a conversation with my friend, and my friend was like, okay, do you know what? Find out what God says about this thing. And I did find out, and I know that God is not okay with us being gay. Like, he has a standard that he has designed, and anything outside of that standard is not just it. But I was like, do you know what? Like, I'll get there when I get there. Like, he knows where I am and all of that. I was passive about it. But I guess it was time to move. So I had the first dream. She said what she said. And I was like, okay, because it was coming from her, I was like, okay, do you know what? Let me actually, let me look into this thing. So I have someone in my church that I am accountable to. And she sends me messages, like things to just help my faith and all of that. So this particular pastor, because I try to be really careful about what I listen to, the sources I'm giving attention to, like in regards to my spirit and all of that. So this particular pastor, I had heard a message. She was from a recommended source. I had heard a message. It was Bible based. I liked the doctrine and all. So I said, okay, that particular time, I had listened to one of her YouTube messages. And you know how YouTube is, once you listen to one, it's going to recommend you a couple of other videos from that person. So in praying about my dream and all of that, I get on my YouTube. I get on my YouTube, and the first message I see from this woman is The Power of Dreams. So apparently she has written a book about dreams and interpretations and how they're means that God uses to talk to us. And like that was just so intentional of the Holy Spirit to me. So I was like, okay, let's see what she says. And then she has this video where she breaks down like symbol by symbol, like, okay, what does this mean? Because you know, dreams, they can be like big picture, everything is going on. As I said in my dream, they can be really active with a lot of random activities. And then but she breaks it down. Okay, look at this symbol. Are you the one driving this? She just breaks everything down. That just makes it easier for you to decode it. And from that video that I watched, I actually confirmed that yes, it was the gay thing that was being addressed, and that needed to move. So after praying, after getting more insight, I spoke to my babe, and I was like, okay, I think we need to break up, because as I said, like, if God is trying to tell me this thing, like I want to try to yield to him as much as I can. But then she's not, like, she just she's like, oh no, it's just your mind is telling you, it's not necessarily, like initially she was like, oh, it's the gay thing, da da da. Now she's like dissuading me from making that decision and all. But I understood, like, she didn't want to let me go at that time. So I was also not so like bent on leaving, so I was like, yeah, maybe it wasn't actually that deep and all of that. But over the course of the next 3 days, I had like 5 dreams literally addressing the same thing. By the time it was the 3rd day, I think another thing that struck me was that the fact that I tried to leave, and initially like I got resistance from her. I was just now like, okay, like, are you sure you can leave this thing? I just had a subtle thought in my mind. But yeah, by the time it was the 3rd day, like, so initially the dreams were ambiguous, but by the 3rd day it was like, this is what I'm telling you. Like, I started seeing girls in my dream, and I would be like on a path, and I'll be getting distracted from my path because of women or because of boobies or something like that. And it was just like, this is what I'm telling you, you need to leave this thing. So that day I also get on my message. I get on YouTube, see what that same pastor says about homosexuality, and she just breaks it down in a way that it was just like, no, I didn't know, because with these things you don't really know impacts, and not just on you, right, but like on maybe your generation after you, maybe on the world around you, maybe like with your friends and all of that. And I just watched that message, and at the end of it, like, she just goes into this very intense prayer session where she's just like doing a deliverance and all of that. And I was just praying and praying, and it just really felt like it was for me. Like, she mentioned some really specific things that it was just for me. And then she's like, pick up your phone, text that person now. You need to text that person. If you don't text the person now, you might never be free from this thing. And that's how I take up my phone and I text my my person at that time, and I'm just like, we need to break up. And I wasn't even sure I could send a message, but my hand just sent it, and that was the whole thing. And yeah, now it's a journey, because like, I've tried to do this video a couple of times, and even in the course of doing this video, I feel like God just wants me to tell everyone, firstly, because I know that with the values I've portrayed, carrying God and carrying like other values that don't necessarily depict the personality of God, I might have confused people that this thing is right. The sexual orientation that I was choosing at that time, the identity I was choosing at that time was right. So firstly, I want to apologize and say, no, it's not right. God is still the same yesterday, today, and forever. His word remains the same. Let God be true and every other man a liar. So I'm sorry if I deceived you, if I portrayed something that was not true, that would have affected your own mindset or your own mentality about who God is. And secondly, I just want to say that with this thing, you can't do it by yourself, because some parts of me is like, oh yeah, I'm free. Like that first day when it was like, oh, I'm free, and then like I'm back to real life, and I'm like, oh, what did I do? I'm broken up with. What did I do? And every day I just get better. Every day I just try, like in doing this thing, you just realize that you need to hold on to God. You need to hold on to his word. You actually need to have those words that you say to yourself. One of the ones I've chosen is from Psalm 119 verse 37, that says, take away my foolish desires and let me find life by walking with you. Because the urge will come, like just because you've made a decision, you now need to make that decision every day. You now need to make that decision every day that this old nature of mine, you will die and I will live in Christ. So because at the end of the day, like if you are in Christ, you are a new creature. All things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. But there's a work in your mind. The Bible also says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's Romans 12. So if you must renew your mind, how you renew your mind with the Bible, instead. We are not the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, they are mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. So those old mindsets, those old mentalities, those old knowledge those old knowledge that we had, he will pull them down, and then he will replace it with his word, he will replace it with his behavior, and ultimately rely on his grace. Rely on his grace every day. You pray, like as you're taking away those old behaviors, you need to replace them with new behaviors. You need to replace them with God-given behaviors. You have those words that you hold in your heart, like, as I said, mine is take away my foolish desires and let me find life by walking with you. I pray that as you found this video, as you've chosen renewal, as you choose renewal in Christ, as you choose to pick up his identity and pick up the name that he has called you, he will help you, he will give you grace, he will increase you in that light that he has given you, in the name that he has given you, and you will find him. You'll find him truly. I love you.